All right. So without the capability to conspire, they can't do what they're doing. If they were essentially, if they realize how that works, again, they can do what they want and may not heed it, but they should be put on notice that conspiring is, I guess, the mandatory minimum is 5 years. I think I haven't looked in a while. Well, if they can't, they're all conspiring to commit crimes. They're conspiring to impede. They're conspiring to obstruct. That's a mandatory minimum of 5 years, which means you could have the cleanest record in the world and you get 5 years at least. Right. So they should be told that. I mean, we would succeed much more if. Well, I believe that agent. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I believe that agent, unless it was scenario fulfillment, had information that these people were planning to harm federal officers and were stalking federal officers as an overt act in that criminal conspiracy. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, the way they do the stuff around me. Right. Yeah, I told you if you didn't stop it from happening to me, it was going to happen to you. Right. Thank you, Larry. No, these people are not without experience. I'm trying to tell you, they'll call it like a prank or something, but it's not. The cartels are running it and been running it for years. Again, this is where the dirty cops and the cartel. This is the kind of shit they do. Right. Thanks, Larry. So they've got years of spycraft experience, destroying lives of whoever the cartel and the dirty cops told them to destroy. Again, some of those cops, it doesn't matter if the mayor of Chicago or the mayor of LA tells them to do it, they're not going to do it because they're part of the narcotics distribution and the sex trafficking. Right. They're not going to help you beyond a certain point. I mean, right. And in fact, they'll get your name and turn you into the cartel. I was just talking to my neighbor about that. That's what they do in Santa Fe. Thanks, Larry. So they have a spycraft experience, and that's what they're using. Some of these people are like, lieutenants and captains in the Soviet comradeship. Right. And of course, all that always having a flashback from the Cold War. Right. That's how they hide what they're doing. Just call it a flashback. Right. Trying to find my other tape, but I can't. No, this is those hits and things that all the hits and stuff. It's been going on for years. Well, you got your buddy a cop guy. He's full of shit, right? And you believe your buddy the cop, right? So that's how they're able to do that. So pretty much more effectively than the average John Doe, right? 100%. We agree. And that's what I was explaining to you when I said, you got to secure the cities before we invade those countries. And I guess that's where we are now. Right. So again, I mean, I don't know if you plan to prosecute all these people later or how you're going to do it. Right. but they're on the hook for 5-year mandatory minimum, I believe. Well, again, the idea is that the opposing force, that spycraft entity, whatever it is, cartels, whatever you call it, is using the fact that you don't arrest them to keep them going. Right. Like there's no way to arrest them. That you're just bungling idiots. Right. I agree. Well, I mean, believe me, they've gotten away, and that's part of the scam. They've gotten away with it for years. Right. Cop tells them to do it, they do it. Or the drug boss tells them to do it, and no cop bothers them. Right. Cops on the payroll. Thank you, Larry. Trying to get this thing rolled up. I found these. I'm like, well, these are going to be in great condition because the ends are wrapped and everything. But I'm wondering if they wrap the ends just to dupe the person that buys it, because none of the others were wrapped like that. The end's jagged. I'm like, oh, these are gonna have a good end on them. They've been wrapped from one end to the other. So again, they know how to organize these type of things. Can't remember, I was in Aurora, Colorado, being killed by the cops, while Tren de Arrega was the party animal living large. Right. Agreed. So that payback worked. Between the Justice Department, what do they call it? Trump listed it, I guess. What is it called? I don't know. Did you lift that one? The order, or whatever it is. Like even the Biden administration did something to him. Right. And then they got dirtied for Tren de Arrega operations in their area of responsibility. Right. But that's who was probably paying them. As soon as I got into Aurora, they probably showed them a photo of me and said, you get paid, you take this guy out. Right. Well, the difficult part of getting this thing started. Yeah, I could be mad at Home Depot for this, but they finally did provide a decent looking couple of. And I was looking at them early on. I just couldn't get to them because people, again, Home Depot's corrupt. See, I go in there and they're like, security's witching me, trying to screw up my purchases. They know how that works. Right. Yeah, the corporate security. If you remember growing up in the 70s and 80s, that the corporate security was evil. Remember that? It's real. It actually happened. Right. Makes sense. So all the cops that jump ship to corporate security, they're part of that evil. Most of them, it's not everyone, right? Or not jump ship, but retired, went to corporate security. Like you got like these great DEA people and stuff. They're like, well, the only job I get at Home Depot is stock the shelves. What's going on? You're crooked. They don't give you a security position until you're crooked. Right? Somebody vouches for you being crooked. Well, because I'm sure that they're self-dealing. I can't pull this thing up perfect for some reason. I guess I'm being cursed when I did it. Right. Right, a little better there. I'm sure the Home Depot and Walmart shipments are being used for narcotics distribution. I'm 100% sure. Yeah, I'm sure security's on the take. Guarantee heavy Spanish nombre. Right. I thought the woman that was harassing me in Kansas at Walmart was Arabic. But I saw her name. I'm like, Spanish. Right. Cartel payroll. Along with the cops, probably. Yeah, it was the nicest people, Spanish immigrants. But they want to go dirty, then they get treated dirty, right, or as dirty, right. It's not opportunity to take over and destroy the United States for your personal use. That's not the land of opportunity that you're all preaching, right? Yeah, it's deeper. Trump don't talk about the deep state for real. Maybe he doesn't know. There's Republicans and Democrats who work with the cartels, and they got big houses, and that's how they stay. Like if you don't have a big house, then it's very difficult to get anywhere. Right? Big house, big money. As a drug dealer. Well, if you're a drug dealer with money and you know how to pay the right people, and you live longer than a real cop. Right. You live long and prosper. But you'll go to hell for it. That's what happened. The cartels came in and the deep state said, pay us. And they said, okay. And that was it. Really, that's what happened. Everything. The mafia, the Russian mafia. Remember when the Russian mafia was big? Well, the cartel paid better. They still pay, but right. Thanks, sir. Now, people they arrest are like just, the fall people. That's how it works. Great investigators can't get a half a job when they retire, and they're like, "What the hell? I thought we were gonna get a good job. All these people got a good job. They're all corrupt, man." Now we get a piece of tape here. Maybe I don't need it. Just use Saran wrap. Their witchcraft is pretty big. As far I mean, it's anti, but it's big. There's a lot of witchcraft moving around. All you gotta do is let me get married and have a normal life. I mean, wasn't much they asked of crooked cops and cartels. Right. Thank you, Larry. And corrupt techies. Right. See, what they don't know is, you can only we don't do so much, but there's people in all these government agencies that lost friends. Right. It just takes time for it all to come around. Right. Well, I think we should explain how criminal conspiracy works. I mean, you don't want them to beat it, but again, if they conspire, they conspire, right? Well, it's not okay. I'm not saying everything, and there's other ways besides the internet that we know that they're conspiring. Right. Thanks, sorry. I don't even believe in Telegram, to tell you the truth. Not all of it. All I do is get somebody in the channel when it's over. Right. Well, there they are. Porn squad here, FBI porn squad. That's why we can't catch them. He knows too much. Like they're weirdos, man. Right. Like I'm going to use Telegram to go run after kids. I mean, they're full of shit. They flood my life with kids and freaking wacko women trying to turn me on. And then they bring men and you know, so the key is they bring a normal woman in and try to tell them all to, you know, get me interested, right? Which means turn them on, right? Then they bring kids and gay men and trans people around, right? And they do stuff on the algorithms. Even on like normal algorithms, so what happens is you'll be on Facebook and you'll just be trying to like just do normal stuff, you know, and all of a sudden they'll sexualize your feed and see if they can get you over to porn somewhere. That's really what they do. I've investigated since the 90s. Now in the 90s they would use like Karen Shelton, FBI agents. But like there would be no like algorithm at that level. Like there was no social media, right? But the algorithm, like they would get you to look at porn, right? And then when you look at porn, you have to go where they put you, and then you investigate, right? No, I didn't go to any like gay clubs. The only gay club I ended up in was by accident in Naples. Because I asked my mom about it. I said, "What's going on?" Because I thought it was just like this conservative bastion. And she said, "No, this is like the gay capital of Florida." They're everywhere. You know, every conservative's got a place in Naples wants to act like it's, you know, conservative central. No, we all just go to church here. No, it was like I think it was a trans club or something. No, I didn't stay. I just like I didn't even pay. If you had to pay at the front, I don't go to places you have to pay anyway. But you know, I just leave good tips and that kind of thing. But and I didn't go out that much. But I went and I'm like, wait a minute, this is because the dude asked for money, and I was like, well, let me check it out. Can I check it out? He said, yeah. And when I went in, it turned out to be a trans club. I'm like, I didn't know they had one of these here. So I asked my mom, what the hell's going on? She goes, oh, yeah. My mom and I lived in a place where, like, 8 months out of the year, nobody lived there. We were just in a condo. We had to, like, the whole, like, street to ourselves. Gulf Shore Boulevard North. It was like insane. I didn't want to be there, but I got stuck. You know, my mother and my brother's energy with the deep state kept me because my mother like bullshit. She's full of shit. So they knew that I knew my mother would say shit on the phone about me that was bullshit. Right. My brother finally told me what she was saying. I said, look, you know, it's just like you. When she tells me the shit about you, I tell her, look, you know, it's not, you know, it's not real, mom. You know, but like the deep state wanted me there because she does that shit. Right. And they really killed my life when I tried to get a lawyer to my mother to fix what she did in New Jersey. But I you know, they'll pay for it in hell at this point. I can't fix it here. You'll pay for it in hell. That's how it works. You should have let me fix it here. Thanks, sir. I mean, you know, you want to play your games here additionally while I try to fix something that happened and that you know happened because you've been on the phone wiretap hearing that it happened, right? Then you'll pay for it in hell because I can't fix it here. You'll find out how you should let me do what I needed to do when you all get to hell. Now the whole thing is to select. They select what everybody's going to be and what your kids are going to be. But it requires the left and the right so they can continue that battle and steal everything away from us. Right. Yeah, that was another time they killed me when I tried stopping the left and the right battle. But the reality is, we'd have more technology, we'd have more money if the world would have went the direction I was trying to take it, including the people that are, you know, the big bosses, you know, making the money. This, as it is, everything I tell them to do is golden, right? All I do is do it. Right. There isn't a lick of genius left in government, if you ask me. Right. Well, I mean, yeah, if you do what I say, that qualifies you as a genius. Nobody else is, right? Right. All right, where's that label for that thing? Trying to wrap up the last thing I got to take back. Pretty poor condition. I'll tell you what, Menards was great for that type of thing. This is the other one. Menards was great for remnants. They have vinyl remnants like you wouldn't believe. Priced real well. Right. I mean, the Home Depot ones aren't priced bad, but they're shitty. I found a couple good ones. One I have to glue a little bit, but I really like the pattern. I think it's the pattern that I wanted when it was in stock in the stores. Kind of a rough hewn. It's really cool. They got the saw blade lines in it and everything. They did it for decades, man. Don't listen to their bullshit. What they try to say is, "Oh, he's just having flashbacks when we did it before, or somebody did it before." They're full of shit. Corrupt sons of bitches. They'll pay for it now. Addicting people's children to drugs and then busting one here, one there to make it look like they're heroes. Right. Well, the key is it's just like any organized crime thing. They have to get the cop to do something corrupt. Right. And then they, lead them down the road that, you can keep your job and you can make all this big money if you just do what we say from here on in, which means, allowing narcotics trafficking where they say it gets to be. Right. No, I can't find the thing. I know I have it somewhere. What they're cursing me. Whoa! Yeah, that's where I learned you need to say something to them. Because I'm not cursing them, so they think they're hey, you can't do nothing to it. Hey! now one of them's driving off the road. Ah! Oh, your father's dead. I don't know what happened. He seemed so healthy. Well, they're going to have an autopsy. We'll learn what happened. That's played out over and over again over the last 50 years, I guess, almost. Because when I was a kid, they were doing it too, but I didn't know anything. And the weird part is they show up later in life as adults. I didn't know anything as a kid. I thought they were good people, Right. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, apparently there were people that I grew up with that said, "Oh yeah, he could have done something when he was a kid. He was a weird guy." Right. Yeah, just freaking devils. Man. They lie about everything. No, I'm gonna have to shut this down and find that label another day because I'm not returning it till tomorrow. Yeah. Or next day. Even I have two of them. One's wrapped up with a label. I know I have a label here somewhere. Well, actually, I have one. The one I'm about to unwrap. Right. Let me put some more Saran wrap around this, and then take it outside, and then clean the floor, then wrap it out. Like if I don't curse them, it gets worse because like and then all of a sudden your father's dead. What? You killed your father by being able. Like any crook, he'll blame me for it, blame the the law enforcement system for it, you know? Right. They're acknowledging that they shouldn't have been devils. Right. Especially with a badge. Right. Yeah, they do deep state. Well, how dare you return something? Like, well, if you really want me, I'll F off Home Depot for inconveniencing me. But if you shut up, maybe I won't. Right. See, that's the world they hide from everybody. Right. No, they don't get to. They don't get to sell you shitty products. You can send them to hell if you want. So when you turn it, they try. Deep state will try to posture. Now something could be moving in Home Depot. I know the security is probably corrupt, but as far as that person that waited on me the other day, I got no idea what she was trying to message she was sending to me. Right, but it makes no sense. It could be deep state. Right. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, Westview or Ben Avon, whatever they call it. Tried to make me Ben Avon. Is Avon even around anymore? It's like Sephora, if you don't know. Right. No, I get. They don't allow me to talk to anybody. They don't allow any. So they say I'm in solitary. They put me in prison. Like that's how they justify this in their minds. I'm like, what? The crooks, dirty cops who get mad because a cop's not dirty. That's who they are. And then, of course, it's all the dirty companions, the cartels, the sex traffickers. Thanks, Larry. All right, let me get this taken care of here. Nice red and blue lights out here. Nice and relaxing. All right, let's see here. Somebody, me. I'll get this thing out of here if I can. Get cleaned up. Get another filter into it. All living lives they never earned. Right. That's why I like that system. Right. Pieces of garbage. Pieces of garbage. No, it's like overwhelming to be here. I walked outside in the rain in Pennsylvania. Like, I love rain in Pennsylvania. What the hell's wrong with rain in every other city? I don't know. It's weird. Now, they could have been drugging me, and that's what it could have been the whole time. I know I was drugged on and off, but maybe it was the whole time. They drugged me in Indianapolis. That's what made me sick there. Well, they don't let you have any life. So when your life comes for you, they kill you with everything they have. The dirty cops say, don't worry about it. We got you covered, that kind of thing. Right. No, Hashem tried paying me right away when I got to Indianapolis. Right. Actually, right, that's in there. Trying to get me not to finish my project here. No. Trying to get my mezuzahs delivered. Wish I could do that magic and Amazon deliver my one mezuzah early with the other one. Right. You know. Fire the jets. I've done it before. They'll screw with my delivery and then they'll deliver it. Amazon will deliver it a day early anyway. Right. Now, some of the Amazon people, I don't know if they even work there anymore. They used to spite them. They used to do shit to piss them off. Like they screw with my delivery and Amazon would get it there a day early. All right, I gotta. Let's see. What is that? I could turn the light off. Oh, it's a shadow. That was a smudge. Well, you know, again, I don't know. You have conspiracy cases everywhere. And you make, you know, some are active, I'm sure. Right. I don't know how many cases you want, or you just want to look at the, you know, whole field and let them keep going. Again, it does, you know, show the case. It helps the case, the insurrection case. Again, the idea is to get the judges to remember that cops aren't part of the job. Isn't getting assaulted. That's not part of the job. And every time there's a fight, that's an assault. Right. Well, because that's where it's broke. That's where the system's broke. I'm sorry. Me. I gotta actually mop this. I gotta empty the bucket. Well, the system's broke because it like if you watch how they're speaking, like it's part of the job. This is part of law enforcement. This isn't an insurrection. That's an insurrection when it's a conspiracy to assault, to impede, to obstruct at the level that we're seeing. When you're saying law enforcement can handle it, that's bullshit. What you're saying is that this fight back and forth is allowable. Now, what you'll do is say, well, you arrested this person and they were peaceful. First off, I don't know who that person is. They may have actually conspired to harm or to gather intelligence to harm agents. So she's playing her clarinet, but she's, you know, it's like Karen Sheldon, Mata Hari. Like, the knitting lady is a freak. They used to, in New York, they used to think she was like some nice spinster. That's how she probably got working in trouble. I'm sure she had to do with it. She would call people in New York while you're on assignment. So you get away from your district. They were setting it up on assignment that you'd be screwed off. But, you know, they psyop you on assignment. Marshal Service owes me probably like $1 billion, to tell you the truth. And that ain't an overestimate or anything, or an exaggeration. Agreed. Thanks, sir. Yeah, you're just making a bullshit case. That's how they do it. They make a bullshit case and then they just ruin your life. Again, you just, I don't have a lawyer looking at your wiretap application, right? And you know it. Say what you want on that, right? Been doing that. Don't tell me that this one I happen to use some truth, right? You've been doing it for 35 years, right? Maybe 40. So it's a slickster to get to my wife and to my family He made up some bullshit about a judge. Right. And somebody told me he used what do they call that thing? Or somebody, him or somebody who was affiliated with, used the national security letter. That they thought they were fun. Right. Thanks, there. Yeah, narcissism is a mental illness, and they have that, but it's spycraft. It's foreign powers. So you overthrow the United States. It's an insurrection. That's what Rick Henry was into. That's what Shelton was into. An insurrection. Right. Agree. Those just happen to be two of the criminal operators in the Marshal Service that were close in. Right. Yeah, they got paid. They were getting paid, and nobody was arresting them because CIA would make sure that they were safe, because they were the CIA contacting the Marshal Service in certain locations. And they say somebody doesn't get to keep their job, and they don't get to keep their job. Right. Why would the CIA do that? Because the CIA is a crook. Doesn't mean every employee, is with it, but again, they're not going to buck that fist. Again, today there could be more people there than used to. Well, he worked for the CIA actually worked for Russia to destroy the U.S. government. Right. I don't know, what that level of complicity is for each agent or officer. Right. They killed the best agents and officers, and the weakest pieces of shit were made big and given lots of money. Right. Now, there's, again, it increases as time goes on, but you just fired some non-deep state agents while deep state agents told you to do it. It's a setup. Like I tell you, there is no real politics. There is no left, no right as far as what's actually going on. Right? You fired the people that could actually do the job. Again, I'm sure there's people that work for you have the same opinion, but they can't say anything because they'll end up there. Right? It's not a way to run a country or run a government. You need people to speak truthfully. Right? No, Karen Shelton's if you actually looked at what the crimes Karen Shelton committed, she's looking at hundreds of years in prison. Right. Yeah, and so is the CIA. So you got that story from one end to the other. Right. But I guarantee you, Bettman was psyoped into using heroin. Obviously it's a screwed up thing, and we can look at the victim all day long, but I guess at that point the person is guilty. But right. Now what they'll say is, well, that makes him a pedophile. You see? Right. Make a motion. Thanks, Larry. Well, I just think you should in your face. Again, the worst of the worst, assaulting our ages. It's the same thing over and over again. It sounds like I didn't mean to know it's true, but it sounds like a Soviet re-education camp. You just got to get the megaphone. Right. Or a loudspeaker PA system. Well, explain to them that these are criminal conspiracies, and you're conspiring to harm agents. And these people, they're being taken down because they're doing that. It doesn't mean that they won't ever be prosecuted. It doesn't mean that the criminal complaint is the be all of the case. Well, that's the other thing I want to talk about. Criminal complaints are usually just to get you locked up, real quick. They don't have to prove much. They just do it as they put together the case and gather more evidence. And then you don't have to reveal it. It doesn't take much discovery. But there's no the criminal complaint. If it doesn't say anything, then you don't get a ton of discovery. You only get so much discovery. Right. Look, because the other cases are ongoing without charges. You say that. But if they charge you with it, then you have to have discovery. There's trials going on today where the attorneys and the defendant are being actively investigated and there's no discovery. Right. Right. So again, I don't know how long it's going to last, and I don't know what the totality of the evidence is, but they probably can articulate you conspired to commit violence, right. Or they can prove, I guess. Right. Well, what are they supposed to do? Just let you commit the violence? It doesn't make any sense. Right. As far as that day goes, I thought there were several incidents. Maybe I'm wrong. Like she oh no, she got away and she went. The second incident was the hospital, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I admitted I didn't know all the evidence, but again, you're not these people that are without the capability to be charged with conspiracy at a minimum. Drive around doing that's conspiracy to impede and to obstruct. All your conversations are logged online. That's why, it's part of why they're not saying anything, because you're still doing it, or they're still doing it. I just think it'd be better to just end this, the nonsense by showing them the truth. But I guess maybe you're just still floating a few cases to see where they go. I don't want to give away whatever. No, if they don't charge you with something and they keep investigating it, you don't get that discovery. Right. But again, at a certain point, the judge would balk. If it got to the actual trial, you might get at least part of this. Oh, it's just dry now. I don't know what it is, man. I think I was drugged. I absolutely believe I was drugged. Now, these are heavy days. Some reason they didn't kill me outright. I guess maybe they're paranoid on that. I'm not saying I tried. I'm sure they put contracts in. I received inside, somebody said that, like, somebody once sent me money. They said they were putting money to the change so I could have some money, and they stole it. But then on the reverse side, they paid somebody to kill me, and they just took the money and ran off. Right. There's a lot of metaphysical blocks. Again, we have psychological terms for things, but I have the Kabbalistic psychology. I know what the metaphysic is that's causing it. Right. So I can't get to certain things, but I know it's because of metaphysics. Right. I figure out what the cook. We're supposed to make. I can't cook rice for some reason. I don't know what the curse is. Once I figure out the curse, I'll be able to cook rice again. It must be probably my pressure cooker. They must have seen my pressure cooker somehow. or it could be an old curse that just resurged. That's another one. Once they curse you enough, it'll go up and down the level of those curses. I did want noodles tonight, but I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to cook them. Noodles, yogurt, and Tabasco sauce. Yummy. It's like an MRE meal. So we'll just go for this. I gotta eat something here. Well, that's fine. I'm just like tickled to be here. Like I can't even articulate what happened. I mean, it's like being in prison and having getting out, and then they go, exactly, that's bullshit. You're fucking narco terrorists, narco criminals. You still have political connections, so you're not being arrested, but you're still the narco criminal that you've always been. Like like the accountant in the mob. Remember the accountant in the mob? I mean, what was that guy in the mafia? Like an accountant, famous. The same thing. Well, we're not the mob. We're an accountant. We're an agent. We're a cop. Right. The mob's running stuff. We don't see any mafia cases because they're running stuff. You all sold out to the mafia. When was the last time you saw a good mafia case, right? Oh, they decided they wouldn't do anything anymore. Well, they blackmailed you. What? Storage it. That's how you can tell who deep state in the deep state like cases. Right. The RICO cases are like black guys from the ghetto, which means the mafia, is in the deep state. Well, now we got Spanish guys. Yeah, I think Putin took care of some of that though. Like some of the Russian mafia stuff, he said no. Because I made fun of them. Because they have trans. The Russian mob had trans and gay prostitutes. Right. So I'm making fun of Putin. Oh yeah, big, Mr. Big heterosexual. I think he nicked. Well, that's the buzz inside. He nicked some of it. Right. Inside buzz. Right. Well, I just don't. I don't know who the deep state is, but if you're Ukrainian and you're Russian and you're part of the deep state in this country, you're not going to be able to get out of that war until you stop. It doesn't matter Republican, Democrat, or otherwise. Because, like I said, that was the beginning of all the deep state stuff. it branched out and has a life of its own outside of the Russians now. But like Russians and Ukrainian mob are the ones that use that and paid off. Like a Russian mobster or a Ukrainian mobster is not going to walk up to Karen Shelton and tell her to do something. There's going to be, some other agent or, somebody she meets in church or something like that, right? Oh, yes. Yeah, but they are. They're sold out. No, she wasn't little. Yeah, she was something like Methodist or something. Wherever the judges went, that's where she went. So she's gonna like invite them over for some sex, right? It's like our judges were all like military dudes, and like a lot of the senior judges in Maryland. So again, it was a different world back then, right? So she definitely, at a certain point when they got older, that's when she flourished. Her and her big sister, the assistant chief, both of them were in my life outside of the Marshal. They try to tie it to the Marshal. Oh, the judge this, the judge that. Try to act like it's judicial security, right? Well, they increased when I told them they were like I just said out in the internet one day, "You're stalking me. I know you're stalking me." Right. So they knew it was stalking. So that's when they started heavy on that one psyop where they try to like get in front of me and make me look like I'm stalking them. Right. Well, he's driving down this road, and here she is in front of him. I'm serious. They'll stalk you from in front of you to make it look like you're following. It's a CIA trick, right? Thanks, Larry. I didn't know it was deep state. I just knew somebody was out there. I was investigating it. Didn't know, who was involved and who wasn't involved because the deep state had already moved in close, right? No, it isn't the classic case where a cop engages in a crime for law enforcement purpose. That's the cover story, right? And they even had difficulty connecting the dots on that one, right? Thanks, Larry. Like I said, made up bullshit judicial security cases. Yeah, they're just idiots. It's not my fault judges liked me, okay? I worked hard, I did what I was supposed to. You all a bunch of screw offs, suck asses, deep state suck asses, right? I couldn't figure out how we were so rich. I'm like, how did they get the money? How does that make sense? And then I figured it out. They paid the churches off. That's how in other words, they find out what crimes a preacher committed or a church committed, then they extort them and pay them. Right? Extortion goes away and you get your money. Fundamental Baptist, LDS, Contemporary Christian, you name it. Thanks, Lou. There's nothing independent about Fundamental Baptist. It's a bullshit thing. First, when you go in, even without the deep state, you can see it. Well, you have to go to a certain university. So you're not independent. You go to the university, and everybody's verbatim to that university. There's no independent there. Right. So it was like a Bob Jones clique. Now I was in the Bob Jones clique, but again, they took the money. Right. Well, if I favor you, you go up. Right. And I guess you all believed it was all of you, and they got all mad when you went back down. Then the world is ending. These people are evil. They're not coming to our church. No, you're evil. More ain't backing you anymore. Right. Besides going to hell, you all end up in hell for that shit. Right. They try to make it like the old boy network, keeping everybody safe and making sure nobody evil gets in. But I mean, they got PIs that sexualize people, say they look bad, and they're part of it. The church is part of it. It's disgusting. Right. Yeah, he tried to say I was like dealing heroin and shit. I mean, it's just been one bullshit after another. I mean, obvious bullshit. Like I said, a first year FBI agent, if he were honest or she were honest, could figure the entire thing out. It's so sick. Right. No, the honesty part's the tricky part. Right. Meanwhile, the heroin agent, heroin office or the heroin dealers, right, and the cops are splitting the proceeds. Right. There's a part that I don't think. No, I guess that's what I could do. Right. Or do I want to bring it back this way? Well, it's going to take two to do this. A big one and a small one. I don't know if I want to put this the big one up. I got to order some gliders so it doesn't damage. That should have been able to get them already. They're blocking. Like when you go to a store, you have all these ideas and you buy everything you need. That's the way everybody's life's supposed to be. When they block it and you don't get your cues. So what do I want to do with this? I guess I could do that. Where is it? I should have just sent a message. Ah. There's a roll of like that stuff you put on your shelving or your cabinetry. I have some really thick stuff, or a tool cabinet. I guess a tool cabinet stuff. Some really thick stuff like that. And the way underneath it, I think. That's probably the shit out of it. No, what are you doing? Yeah. What they're trying to do is to get me not to set up the ark tonight. We'll be set up the. No, they will it all day long. You don't have to sit here and go, don't sit up the ark, don't sit up the ark. Right? Let's look at it now. Oh, it's because you're grooming people with your ark. Well, LDS, it's a big statement for a church like you. Right. Well, I think it's a game, I guess. Right. It starts by inserting CIA into LDS, and then they take over and they, let everybody in that there is a big scam that we all can make money on. Right. Don't worry about the quorum. You have to get the CIA to favor you. Then you got real money. Right. I don't know how I want to do this. So I can put the other one at the front and put this over in the rear. No, it's not good this one. I'm hoping to find. I wish I could find. I found two just like this. I got one in the bedroom under my bed, and I got one here. But I'm hoping. I was hoping to find another one. I don't know if that's possible. So you can pull this a little bit. Yeah, CIA would own the whole country once for me. No, they still have some difficulty. Great stuff. Well, what I figure is some of these were the LDS spies and the LDS agents. They're doing this stuff. Well, they don't want another. They don't want big religious people. They want fake religious people, right? All right. Like I'm thinking, wow, oh my God, we're gonna fix everything. It's gonna be wonderful. Blessed be the name of the Lord. They try to kill you because you're like, you're killing the black people. Next thing you know, the N-word people are gonna take over. Yeah, you have to heal them so they don't commit crimes, right? Because they're being cursed to crimes by the KKK and the LDS, quite honestly. Well, they have Turk and black people where they all speak French. If you don't speak French, you don't get to be black in their church. They got a couple other Turkish. It's all Turkish, right? They know the game, right? Remember that thing? There was like the African Jews considered the American Jew, or the African, not Jews, the African, the African blacks considered the American blacks sub sub them and all that. Kind of the same deal in the LDS. Right. Part of the money scam, right? The federal ATM. Right. Well, CIA has a big budget. A lot of that's used to enriching people that they use, but it's a scam, right? You want to say you should have married the trans woman we were giving you. We thought you were ready. Right. I can't find that roll of stuff. That'll be. I don't think it's. Maybe it is in my storage unit. I can't believe if I left it up there. I would think it was in my shed, but I don't think I saw it in my shed. Now, I didn't want to put the arc weight on this thing because I don't want it to cause an indentation. And until I was ready to, until I put something down. I have rolls of stuff. I just don't know what it is. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.